Welcome to Soul Salon.
Happy Mabon.
Thank you very,
Eight
very
red
much.
trees.
It is, yes, today is Mabon. It is the 22nd of September, so it is the autumn equinox. And it is an absolutely beautiful day here.
It is. It's lovely.
It's gorgeous, it's sunny, and we thought rather than do another teaching set, that we would do a reading today because it deserves it. Mabon Gaia deserves our respect. It is her time of birthing harvest.
It is.
And
we want to celebrate that balance that we're being offered today by the equal hours of light and darkness.
And dark in the day. So we're going to use, what we're going to do is we've got a reading that we're taking out of a lovely book called, it's by a lady called Lida Pavlova, and it's The Library of Questions. And it's a lovely book. I'll put a link in the description. And it's questions. It's an entire journal that is full of possible spreads and questions to make you think about everything. And she's done a lovely spread for Mabon. It's a 5-card spread. So what we're going to do is use the MJ Cullinane Guardians of the Night Tarot, and then we're using the Lorraine Anderson and Juliet Diaz Seasons of the Witch Mabon Oracle, which came yesterday. Friday.
Okay.
Yours has arrived. Mine has not arrived yet, so thank goodness that yours did arrive, because that would have been awful.
I know, yeah.
It's an absolutely beautiful deck. We'd like to look at that.
I mean, I would have bought it just for the
amazing, isn't it? Can you see that up close? I hope that's stunning. It's just beautiful. She does an entire series, Season of the Witch, following the 8 Sabbats of the year.
Yes.
And in October, she's bringing out the first tarot set.
She is,
which is the Tarot of Winter.
The Tarot of Winter, which looks beautiful.
So when that comes, we will definitely be unboxing that for you and showing you. And this is beautiful. This is the Guardians of the Night Tarot. And I'll just grab a few to show you some of the imagery is absolutely beautiful. Like, she's just, and we thought it was a beautiful deck for this time of year. So what we're going to do is draw one oracle and one tarot for each of the questions, and there are 5 questions. So we will now, what do we want to do? Do we want to lay them all out, all 5, or do we want to do 1, 2, 3, 4? What's your take on it?
I think, should we do one at a time?
One at a time?
Because they're individual questions, aren't they?
Yes.
Which will then work into a spread. But I think it'd be interesting to look at the questions. So it's called A Look Within, a spread for Mabon. And it says, every autumnal equinox, nature turns its life inwards. So the first question is how to find the light within.
Okay, so let's give this a start then. And this is a general reading. So if you feel drawn to it, you feel drawn to it.
We set the intention for it for the collective energy.
For the collective energy. It's for the collective consciousness. And it's for any of you who feel drawn at this time of the year to really question when everything's going darker and you know, we've collected all the fruit and the veg and everything's starting to go brown and yellow and green and gold and beautiful, and we can feel it drawing in. It's a time, I like this early time of the drawing in, because if you set yourself up correctly from an internal cleaning point of view, when the nights do get really dark, when we hit the winter, you can roll through the winter instead of it being a shock and a depressive time of year. You've done the preparation to bring you into a time of stillness for the winter, which I think is important.
It's very much a time of release, isn't it? You know,
very much a time of release.
We see what we need to do. We see the inner work that we need to do reflected really in the seasons, in Mother Nature's lessons to us, really. And we see the trees releasing the leaves. We see how everything sort of hibernates, really. Everything uses less energy, doesn't it?
And it's preparing for hibernation now, isn't it? Like, it's preparing for dormancy and hibernation and all those good things. I've got none popping out at me today, so I'm going to make a choice.
Use that one.
Oh, well, there we go. Queen of Cups. grapes.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
So, where are we going with that one next to it?
Yeah, pop it next
and
to
the
it.
Witch's Rosary, and it says
Lovely.
craft your skills with intentions repeated, a practice of magic powered by purpose. Whoa.
Wonderful.
So how do we find the light within? So the Queen of Cups, very much the internal world,
yes,
isn't it?
yeah, the emotional world.
The
yes.
intuitive looking within, and asking you to look into your heart as well. The Queen of Cups.
Yes.
Look into your heart.
And also what I love about this is it's twofold for me. This is definitely, we're looking at the feminine energy, which is what we're coming into at this time of year.
Yes.
So in traditional Chinese medicine, the autumn and then into the winter, so the autumn is the lungs. It's associated with your lungs.
Okay.
So it's associated with a clearing, with a letting go, with coming to terms with griefs. And grief doesn't have to mean our traditional idea of grief. It can be all the little griefs that we carry because of daily losses, life
almost
losses.
Like the disappointments.
The disappointments. It's coming to terms with them. It's saying, I don't know, this past year I was going to learn how to knit and I haven't done it. And I'm actually a little bit grieving that I never got around to do it. It's all these little things. But when you can come to terms with those things and not allow them to weigh down on you emotionally, you can let them go. So when you come into winter, and the interesting thing for me here is, again, in traditional Chinese medicine, winter is the time of the kidneys, which is the water element. And it's the deep water. It's your depth of the ocean. It's the stillness. It's very cold. It's very still. It's very frozen, which is, here we've got the orca going down. She's heading down into that. So, and it's the most yin time of the year. It's the stillness. It's the contemplative.
I like this with the fish here at the bottom. It's almost like, what will you meet within?
Yeah. Absolutely. And they're flowing as well. So when we meet that within, to understand that there's a constant flow of within.
Yes.
And that instead of grabbing,
going in the same direction, isn't
absolutely.
it? It's not sort of going randomly. Everything's heading in the same direction, and the Queen of Cups is heading in the same direction.
Absolutely. They're following the current, they're following the flow, and it gives you a sense here, when I look at this card, that you're not reaching in and grabbing an individual fish out. If you want to follow the fish and see where they're going, you have to flow with them in the current.
Yeah.
So it's gentleness. It's about there's no fighting of it. There isn't the wands of summer, the fire of summer. They go and grab it. This is much more of a, just float. We all float down here.
I love the crab as well, because the crab, to me, it symbolizes Cancer.
Absolutely.
Which is very much that energy, I think, of care, but in this case it's that self-care that's needed.
Yes.
We need to be gentle with ourselves. We need to allow ourselves to slow down.
Yeah.
We've got the crown that's up here in the stars, which again is interesting, because it's almost like being guided in that queen energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That you can go deep within and the guidance will occur.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And for me also, the crab with Cancer signifies family. Yeah. It signifies a coming together. Yeah. And this time of the year, traditionally going into harvest time, there were a lot of feast days. There was a lot of gathering, because you were
and celebrate.
You were celebrating hopefully a good harvest. You were celebrating having food to see you through the winter months. So therefore you had survival at stake, didn't you? It was quite an intense time of year, hence the intensity of the celebration, because if you didn't gather enough food, if you didn't have enough firewood, if you didn't have enough whatever,
you weren't getting through the winter.
You weren't getting through the winter. No. So you needed to have that. So it was a real giving thanks that we had it. And also, I love the colors. I love the autumn colors, because
they're reflected there, aren't they?
I look at this and I think it could be a sunset, it could be a sunrise, it could be a blood moon. And I think of the blood moon in harvest, because this is what we've come up to now, is the time of the harvest.
Yes, I was seeing that as a blood moon. And I think this is just verifying the fact that we really do need to set that intention ready for what we're going to do throughout the coming months.
Yes.
And that's how we're going to discover that light, by going within to
Yes.
discover the light that's within us all.
And
What do we want?
Also, I like the idea of powered by purpose. Your magics are powered by purpose. So when you come into a time of contemplation, you start, it's a good idea, I think, to start with a purpose.
Yeah.
Because when you're trying to go within to clear out within, when you want to find a place of gratitude within, you need to give yourself some highway markers, because sometimes when you go deep within, you are going to have things come up that perhaps you weren't prepared for.
Yes.
And if you don't have a purpose, if you don't, it's like, do you know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of, I think we talked about this before, how people have, it became a real trendy thing to go off to South America and do ayahuasca and have these visions and have all of this kind of thing.
But if you haven't got the foundations of what you want to achieve from
absolutely, that, if you're not anchored,
if you're just doing it to
for shits and giggles,
to get off your face,
and literally it gives you that,
and to, you know, I think if you've not done the work and looked within before you do that, if you go in totally unprepared, having done no sort of inner work, and then you go and take something like that, it's going to be
mind-blowing, and not always in a positive way. You have to, this for me, this is very ritualistic, this card. So this is setting up to me, it's saying to you, if you're going to go deep within, the orca is a powerful creature. It's an apex predator. This is the queen. This is like, you're asking for some really heavy hitter energies to come in when you go within. And that's wonderful. And that can be an incredible time when you come into winter to be able to really almost reinvent your inner self, right? Find your authentic self. But to do that successfully, you've got to have your ritual. You've got to have your purpose. You've got to have things that anchor you. Hence the reason ritual happens. I mean, the whole idea of ritual is it anchors you into the present. So when you allow yourself to float with the current and go into the deep, never-ending consciousness, you can do so, but come back again.
Yes, and whether you call it intention setting, or whether you call it prayer, or whether you call it
meditation
or attunements, it's or manifestation. It all boils down to the same thing, that we are setting our intention.
Yes, and that you're grounding, you're anchoring before you head off into the wild unknown.
Yes,
and that's important
because I see it very often teaching mediumship, that people come in and they want all the sort of higher chakras to be wide open, and they don't give a toss about the sort of the root,
the boring foundation
the
stuff,
earth star and the sacral. They're really not bothered about that. They don't want to work on the root chakra. And it's like, well, if you don't work on that, then everything you're going to get will not have any foundation, and you will come across as being floaty. And when we see the sort of, I suppose, the very stereotypical version of a medium or a spiritual person as being all sort of la-di-da and
wearing
head
lots of scarves and
head in the clouds and sort of floating through life. And it's like, no, you have to experience the physical life to be able to open up to these. And I think this is very much where we've got the Queen of Cups, the intuitive energy, but it's about grounding that energy in. So whatever you want to achieve, it's about laying the groundwork, the foundation.
And you know what? Infrastructure is not sexy.
No.
Infrastructure is just not sexy. Infrastructure is the consistent day-to-day, behind-the-scenes thing that you don't even notice. You don't get any visceral joy out of it. You don't get any visceral change out of it.
No.
But without it, everything falls apart.
Exactly.
So, and do you know who that is in a family? That's the mom.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's the mother. That's the feminine energy. That is the traditional idea. The mother holds everyone together. She does the laundry. She does the cooking. She does the cleaning. And she's the one that the kids talk to. And she's the one that placates. And I'm talking very traditional stereotype. I know this. But that was always the stereotype. Certainly the ones that we grew up with. And the mom was the linchpin that held everything together, that feminine energy.
I would say that's me. Even in sort of a more modern, sort of less traditional family, I would say that is me. It's mum they all come to.
It was my mum. My mum was like, I mean, my mum worked. My mum was a busy lady, but when it came down to it, she was the center, and everything gravitated around her. And I don't mean that in a narcissistic way or anything. It was just, she was the hearth, and everything went around the hearth, and that's kind of a natural thing for the feminine energy. So I want to clarify to people listening to this, that doesn't mean that you are a woman. We're talking about the feminine energy.
That
is
can
that
be any parent.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be.
I don't care if you're gender fluid. I don't care.
And it doesn't have to be a biological parent.
No,
that's
it does not.
Talking about that feminine part of the
energy
and of the being that attracts that
becomes that linchpin, becomes that linchpin, center. So what I'm going to do,
basically, if we sort of wanted to put this in a nutshell, it is very much how to find the light within. Well, we have to look within,
but we need to do it with ritual and organization and purpose,
intention.
Yeah.
So
you can't just go diving in.
Very laying the foundations of self-discovery, or for self-discovery.
Absolutely.
So the next question, position 2, how to find the energy and motivation within.
Okay, so let's see who comes out for us there. Energy and the motivation. You know, these are making me choose today. They're not jumping out. One usually jumps out for me, and they're not doing it today.
I'm having that one because that one was, I caught that one.
8 of Pentacles.
Okay. And so there I've got St. John's wort and marigold. Against your will, not be. Against your will, there will not be. No entrance, no welcoming, be gone. So it's about that, I think that protection, that self-protection about anything negative externally. We're setting that intention that's not going to happen. Again, it's about being grounded.
Yeah, it is, because St. John's wort is traditionally what we use for depression to lift our spirits. And the 8 of Pentacles in this, I thought when I first pulled this card, I love this.
Very much the work.
It's not a bee, it's a wasp.
Yeah.
And because it's about the skill with which a wasp builds its nest.
Yeah.
Because they're perfectly hexagonal paper nests that they build, and they're absolutely stunning. And the skill, again, we're talking about.
But look at the wasp, how the wasp is seen.
Yes, the wasp is seen as something that's a nuisance.
Maybe it's about how you may feel you're being seen, or you may be seen, because if you're looking in a path like this, it isn't sort of a wholly accepted path through all parts of society.
Yeah.
If you're looking at sort of, whether it be as a card reader, whether it be as a witch, whether it be as a psychic, a medium, but on your spiritual path, you may be finding negativity coming up against it. You may be finding resistance to it. The wasp is seen as being a pest.
Yeah, it is. And yet the wasp is so vitally important in getting rid of the insects that would otherwise have harmed us. And they are pollen collectors, I believe, to a degree.
Yeah. We're not looking for the reward, are we? Yeah. The wasp isn't looking for the reward. The bee is the one that sees to be producing the honey, is getting the reward. As seen as we must protect the bees.
The bee's cute and fluffy. Yeah. The wasp isn't. Yeah. And the wasp, if the wasp stings you, the wasp carries on. The bee dies.
Yeah.
So the wasps are, if you want to look at it from that way, the wasps have got staying power. Yeah. The wasps know what they're about. They do their business. If you get in their way, they'll have a go at you. They'll say, "Be gone," which is what this card is telling you. Yeah. It's saying, I trust my skill. I trust my knowledge. I trust my setup. I know what I'm doing. I do not need your approval. I do not need you to like me to
Exactly.
do it.
So
I
look at
do it.
your purpose, but don't expect or you don't need the approval of
External
others.
approval.
You don't need the reward of
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
people's
Because
gratitude.
we're going
We're
inside.
going
If
in.
you're going on an inner journey, this is your
You
personal
are
journey. You're
focusing.
focusing in. It doesn't matter what outside people tell you. This very much is setting up. Trust your intuition and your skills. What you have developed, you have to trust them. You have to walk with them. It's
Yeah.
very important.
Haters will always hate.
Haters gonna hate.
And you know what? Why do people hate? Because they feel threatened, because they feel jealous. And I think when we adopt a spiritual lifestyle, people are threatened by that. They're scared of it for a start, but they're also threatened by the fact that you start to become more satisfied, more grateful about things, more content is the word I'm looking for, in yourself. And you don't need that external approval. You don't need to be a size 0 now. You don't need to have all the cosmetic treatments.
Yeah.
You don't need that, because what's inside is perfect for you.
Yeah. And I think it's also when you go on a spiritual journey, I think there is an instinctive, when people get upset with it, you change. Your core energy changes, your frequency changes, and people riff off of that. So people who are used to feeling a certain way when they're in your presence, even though they may not consciously understand why they feel that way, they feel that way. So if, for example, I know somebody going through this at the moment, and she has always been the acquiescing person in her friend group. She was always the one that would adapt for everyone else's needs. She was always the one that would, if everyone wanted to go drinking but they needed a driver, she'd give in and be the driver. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was all like, no, she wasn't bullied at all.
No, she was
her energy was very, very, very giving without boundaries.
Yes,
she's
a pleaser.
A pleaser, very much a pleaser. And she's been through a metamorphosis, had a lot of things happen in a short space of time.
People drop away.
And people are struggling with it. There are certain people in her friend group who are now telling her she's being negative, who are telling her they don't like, why are you acting this way? They're trying to find reasons for why she's behaving this way.
Acting like the rest of them,
yes,
with their boundaries already set. But because, can I just put this card down as well, because it's on the bottom and I've turned it over as I'm talking to you. And it fits in, but it's also the card that's been stuck.
You and your peppers. What's with you and peppers?
But doesn't that fit in? Be fierce about the ways in which you protect yourself. Allies await. So you're letting these people drop away, because when you set your boundaries, there are people within your life that will drop away. There are things within your life that will drop away.
And that's okay.
That's okay, because it's making space for what you need to come in. And it's this clearing energy. When it says how to find the energy and motivation, it's about being focused on what you need and letting everything drop away that is no longer within your best interests. And then that's okay. But it's about setting those boundaries, about grounding, about being contained in your own energy, not letting people too close, because when people come into our energy and start to drain it, then we don't have the energy or the motivation to do what we need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we've got the idea of sticking to your guns, because the hater's going to hate. This is getting rid of you're doing your thing and people are telling you we don't like it and you're a pest. And then you stick to it, you stick to your guns, and you go within, and there are people who will react negatively to it because it doesn't gel with their frequency anymore. And I know this is a bit of an out there thought about it, and I'm going to try and be clear because it's a bit wavy, but I feel like it triggers in people that deep visceral fear, a threat to your existence, almost depth of fear. When you see somebody find true contentment, they are incredibly powerful. When people start to walk their own path, they're powerful because you can't hold anything over them anymore.
Yes.
They no longer have anything to lose of great value. They understand that everything comes and goes. And that's very threatening
And
for
they
people.
also understand that the power lies within themselves. They don't need anybody else.
But it takes courage to step over that line.
Yes.
And this is what I'm meaning. I think anger comes, the anger that people show towards those that embark on I'm going to use a spiritual word, but
Yeah,
it's an inner path.
I think when we say spiritual, it's encompassing all those different elements. So rather than
Absolutely.
it's a blanket term.
It's
if
a
you like.
blanket term. And I think when you show the courage, walking into a spiritual path, when you choose to go inside and really find where your authentic self has been hiding, it takes a lot of guts, because you have to trust a process that is not laid out.
Yeah.
You have to trust a process that you create, but also that you plug in to what has been created.
Yes.
But there's no guidebook for it.
But then nobody holds the power. You hold the power.
No, I know that.
There's no external.
But what I mean is,
yeah.
you know, it takes guts.
Oh, it does.
Takes guts to go inside, because there is no right. When you do this for 3 days, you get to this point. When you do that for 3 days, you get to that point. It's not.
And you can't blame anybody else.
No, you cannot.
So, but I think why the other thing that sort of triggers, if for want of a better word, a reaction in people when you become that person is because it reflects to themselves those areas of life or those areas within themselves where they're not happy.
Yes,
not 100% happy.
Yes, it does. And I think there is a resentment because you have stepped over a bridge that they have not yet found the courage to step over, and they know instinctively that even if on the surface in the material world they seem to be, leaps and bounds ahead of you, when you come across somebody who sits in true contentment with themselves, you know deep down that even if you've got all the money and the cars and the power and the whatever and the job, that they actually have the contentment. They've got the real lasting power. And that's unsettling for a lot of people.
Yeah, because you don't need anything externally. No. If you're truly happy within yourself or truly content within yourself.
You know what it is? It's utter trust. And that takes courage. It's like a trust fall, isn't it? You know, when people do those trust fall things where you fall back into the crowd, that's what you do with spirituality. Only there are no tangible people behind you. No, you're falling into spirit. You're falling into your ancestors. You're being and everything the fool,
aren't you? You're being the fool. Off the cliff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think if we're sort of, again, if we're sort of condensing this, it's it's about being focused on what you need to do, but being sure to protect your energy, because that will give you that renewed energy and that motivation, that self-power to move forward. Because if you're constantly allowing people to take the mickey, for want of a better word, or to drain your energy, you've not got your boundaries set, then you're not going to have that energy or time to move forward for what you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So what I'll do is let's move this one over here. Okay, so this was the second question. Can we put it over there? If I move that up to there.
Being my stalker card.
It is your stalker card. I love it.
I just looked down at the deck as I was holding it upside down in my hands, and I was like, oh my goodness, that card is there again. Actually, when I did the first reading for myself, that was the first card, the peppers in my reading, and the St. John's Wort was the end card. I can't remember what the middle card was, but yeah, they both came out for me. And I thought at the time, oh, they're really interlinked because of the boundary and the grounding.
Laying boundaries and grounding.
Okay, so question 3, how to find joy and happiness within.
How to find joy and happiness within. So we've laid the groundwork. We've agreed that in order to come into this feminine time of year and to start doing some clear outs, that's wonderful, but you must have an infrastructure to hang it off of. You've got to have a skeleton that you're hanging the meat off of if you're going to do this.
Yeah, and you've got to take aligned action as well. There's no point looking within without actually then going, okay, this is what we need to do.
Yes.
It's like with manifesting, it's all very well say, setting the intention of what you want, but if you don't actually adjust your life to meet that criteria,
Yeah.
you don't make
Yeah.
space again within your life, then it's not
It's
going to
not going to
bring it.
happen.
Okay, let
And
me
trusting the
see.
process. That's a big one
Oh,
of
that
this,
one.
isn't it?
I'm
Trusting the
having that one.
process.
How to find joy and happiness within. Oh.
Right. Well,
Oh gosh.
interesting.
Oh, so we've got justice and we've got darkness falls, which says within you live, within you live the hidden, the things you want nothing more than to, the things that want nothing more than
And
to
to
swallow
swallow you
you
whole.
whole.
It's fighting your shadow
Oh,
self.
it is.
And it's a sense of justice. The bat, I
Yeah.
love the bat because, again, creature of the night as we think of it.
And we've got that moon behind again.
We've got the moon behind, and we've got the swords. The scales are hanging off
yes.
swords. There is intellect involved in this.
There is intellect. Yes,
There
definitely.
is, looking at this, you are looking at, this is you
Look
challenging your shadow self.
Look at the numerology as well. We've got 11
And
12.
Yeah. So it's consecutive. We've got a
Yes.
following on, and it's a recognition that sometimes as we find our happiness, it's about understanding that justice is not black and white, and that because things happen to us, there isn't always a rhyme or reason why those things happen. And that's when I think it threatens to swallow us whole, because
Definitely.
we want to have an almost Sesame Street level of this person did this, I reacted like this was the outcome, and it's justified. And when you've had something happen to you that has no justification that you can think of, it can swallow you. The grief, the bitterness, the fear, the frustration, the anger, it can threaten to swallow you.
I also think it's down to the part you've played in whatever it is as well.
Yeah,
like you say,
absolutely.
It's not black and white. So although somebody else is very much sort of the instigator of it doesn't stop us from looking within and looking and self-blame.
Absolutely.
It's
and
not,
that can swallow you whole.
it can.
You can
What
become.
could I have done differently?
Yes. Yeah.
How could I have prevented this from
Yeah.
happening? Why didn't I see the red flags? So there's those inner voices, I suppose, that I suppose, and the voice of the ego.
The voice of
that
the ego.
comes out and says, well, you're not good enough.
Yep. The
Because
shadow self that comes up, and it says, ha, I told you that would happen if you did that. Who do you think you are, sticking your head above the parapet? Why did you think you could do this? And when we can't find a sense of justice in what's happened, when it feels random, it feels arbitrary, that's when it feels so cruel.
Yeah.
And this highlights, again, what we're talking about here. You can end up feeling powerless because this is in the face of the flow of life, that things sometimes happen to us that have no justification. There is no justice.
Yeah.
And you have to learn how to be able to understand that that doesn't reflect on you.
Yeah.
If there were things that you could have done differently, there's your learning. But if there were things that were out of your control, how do you simply turn your face away from those things and say, I am not going to give them my energy, which was the St. John's wort, things that are draining you. I'm not going to give this my energy. I'm going to understand that I create my own sense of justice. Because what you think is justified and what I think is justified can be very different things.
Will be totally different. Yeah. It can be. And I also think the deeper we look within, so we look when we first start meditation practice and we first start looking within, or we start journaling, things can be quite surface level.
Yes.
So it can be very much, that it's not nothing too much.
Yeah.
And so we peel away that layer. But as we peel the layers and peel the layers and peel the layers, we get into the real sort of nitty gritty. We're really getting digging deep. We're getting to the root. And that can be really hard. That can be really difficult. And we can struggle to do that, but it's really about sort of digging out the whole of the root.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And it's dark. When you go deep,
Yeah.
if anybody's ever done any gardening and you have to dig out a deep rooted tree or something, it gets really dark, it gets heavy, it's hard work, it's pressure, and you pull up a root and you think, oh, I've done it, and no, there's another root, and there's another root, and you're sweating and your back is breaking, and halfway through you think, why did I start this?
And so sometimes moving forward, what we're encountering is that saying the new level, new devil.
Absolutely.
Because as we move beyond those sort of surface level things, and as we project ourselves out into the world, so as we, sort of manifest more and more things, we get further on in our practice, we get further on in our career, we get deeper into our relationship.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'm being really drawn to say it's like there is more at stake.
Yes, there is.
Because we care more about those things.
You've handed your heart over. You've become more vulnerable. The deeper you go, the more vulnerable you become, because you're opening up a Pandora's box. And I really keep getting drawn back to the justice card, because I think particularly in the world today at the moment, it's really pertinent that there's so many voices, so many screaming cacophony of voices out there saying, I didn't deserve what happened to me. You deserve what happened to you. I have this. There's this idea that there is a definitive idea of justice, that if you codify it in a book that says A leads to B, leads to C, leads to D, that's how we do things. And that's a foundation. That's an infrastructure to hang things off of. But justice is a flowing thing. It means different things in different times, in different cultures, and from day to day, it can mean something different. And that when we have a very solidified idea of what justice means, we can become hurt very easy. And we stop being vulnerable, and we can become very bitter then, because we see that injustices were done to us. We hear it all the time. People say that we've probably done it ourselves. Well, not probably. I know I've done it myself. I don't know. This is a really common one. You car share, and you agree to car share with a colleague, and you pick them up every day, and great. And at first it's all fine and well, and that colleague's, offering you money for petrol, and maybe buying a coffee along the way, or something that's a quid pro quo. But then that sort of drops off. And then not only do they want you to pick them up, but then they ask you to pick them up at different times, or they're not ready when you leave work and you've got to sit around and wait. And then they're not offering you a cup of tea, or they're not offering you petrol money, and you start getting bitter and irritated. And you're like, hang on a minute, how is there justice? And then when you bring it up feeling completely justified, they turn around and they throw something in the works that puts it back on you.
Yes. And that you're a bad person.
That you're that you're being selfish, that you're being childish, that you're being something. Now, depending on which mirror you look through, both people can be right.
Yeah.
It just depends on what your previous sense of ethics have been, what your morality has been, what you've been raised like. So I was talking to someone about this the other day. We were saying how I was raised, and this is what you're raised like. I was raised that when you went to somebody's house for supper, certainly as a kid, you always brought something. You brought a pack of biscuits. You brought some flowers. It didn't have to be big. It wasn't extravagant, but you brought it.
An offering.
It was an offering. So if I went to a friend's house, like right from school, in primary school, if I said, Mom, can I go to so-and-so's house for supper? Mom would pick me up afterwards, but she would have like a coffee cake with her to give to the other parent, just to say thank you for doing this. Now, this person I was talking to, we were saying about the person's son and daughter, son and girlfriend. They get helped a lot by this client of mine. She loves her son and she likes the girlfriend, and there's nothing like that. But there's never any offering of anything back.
Yeah.
They never sort of turn up and say, hey, Mom, can we take you for lunch? Or, hey, Mom, we brought you some flowers. Or, hey, Mom. So she feels that that's an injustice. That feels like, wow. And I find her talking about the girlfriend rather than the son. And I said, well, your son is your son. Your comments about the girlfriend are fine, but your son is your son.
Really, the onus should be on
the son, really. But in her mind, the injustice was this girl, and I'm not criticizing her. I see where she's coming from. Her view was, but he's my son. He's already in my family circle. This girl is coming into my family circle. She should see that this is important to me. And so, therefore, she should be making an effort in order to fit into my family circle. I personally disagree with that. I feel that she needs to take ownership. She needs to say, look, this is the way I raised you, son. I expect you to make your girlfriend aware that these are the things that are expected in this side of the family. Could you please meet me halfway? But that's my view of justice. Her view of justice is my son gets a get out of jail free card because he's my son. The girlfriend should be working harder because she should be getting to know what I need as the adult or as the elder. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And it depends how you look at. Everybody's got this feeling of justice as to what they deserve and what is right, but it all depends on how you've been raised and which mirror you choose to look for. And that's how you can get swallowed by the darkness, because if you constantly go on about, well, they didn't, they didn't, you're forcing everyone to look at the world through your lens of justice, and that's not how the world is.
It's quite interesting that actually the 12 in the tarot is the hangman, which is the shifted
seeing it differently,
shifted perspective. But I like this because this is like really opening yourself up. This is being vulnerable. This is like opening your heart space.
Yes, it is, isn't it? The imagery is very open, isn't it? It's saying that, justice, the idea of what is equal requires you to be vulnerable.
Yeah. I like
it's very powerful, that.
So that's how we find joy and happiness within. We need to be open, and we need to be vulnerable, and we need to dig deeper and deeper and listen to what we need from within.
And realize, I think there's compassion and empathy in these two cards, because you must look at things through different avenues. You've got to realize that your avenue, your mirror, is not the only mirror to look through.
So the next question is how to find the future within, new goals and paths to them.
Okay, so how do we now find the future moving on from that? Again, I'm not getting anything jumping out here. This is making me choose. This is truly random today. 4 of Wands.
Oh. And I've got wool. You are woven with an embrace, protected, loved, and the familiarity of finally being home.
Interesting.
So it's about these are all 4s. Look, we've got 4, and this is number 44.
Yeah, look at the symmetry of the 4s.
They're both cards of stability, aren't they? The 4s are very stable. 4 legs on a table. And this is talking about the stability as well of that home environment where you feel comfortable. I think this is it. It's about feeling comfortable, isn't it? And protected and safe.
Yeah.
So to move forward to the future, we need to be safe in who we are to be able to move forward. The path's there, isn't there? It's like I like this. This almost like reflects that path that we've got here.
The colors, what's interesting too, in all of these pairings, the colors all have really fit each other. Do you know what I mean?
Look how her on here, at first I saw them as being antlers, but look at the tree there, the tree through the window, and this is very much reflected within. So it's like almost like reaching out those branches. The trees are really grounded, aren't they? We have to have the big strong roots like we've talked about, and the trunk needs to be sturdy enough to withhold the weight of the branches as they spread out wider and wider. And look at this, we've got this tree here, and we've got this, to me, that looks like branches.
Antler. It looks like antlers,
but I just see that it's the reflection of those trees through the window, and we need to sort of open our minds. Almost, we need to have really strong grounding to open our mind to possibility and setting new goals and setting out what we want for our future. We need to be grounded. We need to feel safe and secure to be able to then spread our wings wider. To open ourselves up more, to find that period of celebration, that the Four of Wands in the Rider-Waite is very much a card of
Well, I was going to
celebration.
I thought it'd be interesting to read this. So this is in the booklet for Four of Wands. The noisy, raucous magpie called out as if there was any other way to represent the joyful Four of Wands. You are being offered the gift of a potent dose of positive energy. Lean wholeheartedly into the Four of Wands energy. Can you feel that excitement swirling around as celebration is approaching? When you embrace a party spirit, you create a frequency that will open the door for an encounter with someone who will play a pivotal role in helping you achieve a desire. This person may end up being your next romantic relationship. They may have a connection to your dream job or future business partner. The key will be to let go of expectations. This is what leads on from justice. To let go of expectations and simply enjoy the party. Let go of any material desires and live in the moment, as that is how you will tune in and attract the opportunity. Having a hard time getting pumped for the party? Call upon the talkative magpie's energy for balance, as this flirty bird will give you the courage to strike up a conversation with just about anybody. So the magpie represents communication, creativity, community, fun, and playfulness.
And obviously we've got two magpies, so two for joy.
Two for joy. And what this makes me think of, along with that, is this is the energies reaching up to the more refined spirit energy. This is you when you let go. So I just feel like she's in a like, you know, when you, okay, so when somebody's knitting, one of the reasons a lot of people take up knitting is it's a repetitive thing that allows you to relax. It allows you to fall into
it takes you into that
meditative state. And by being, by allowing that to happen, by allowing that repetitive thing, you would just allow the party to be, right? You're just sitting, the needles are just click clacking, and you fall into that state where you open up here. You allow the thoughts, the feelings, they can just flow in, and opportunities, that's when you're relaxed, and so then you are willing to allow the opportunities to come in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think with the knitting as well, she's creating something that's going to give her warmth and comfort.
Yes.
And it makes me think of yoga. So actually the positions in yoga are done to free the body from tension, to allow you to sit within that meditative state.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And it's almost like she's doing that because she's knitting something that when it's cold she can put it round her, and if she was meditating or if she's carrying on knitting to create that state, she'll be warm.
Yes,
we always say, don't we, if you're going to meditate, grab a blanket because you'll get cold. You're sitting for a period of time, you'll get cold. So and then we've got the teapot and the tea as well, which again is bringing warmth. To me, it's very much a card of warmth, and we've got that fiery wands energy as well. The warmth. It's about creating that warmth.
But it's gentle fire here. It's the fire that's leading up. You're still building the fire in these. Yeah,
we're not projecting it in any way.
This is the pre thing. This is when you're getting ready for everything to happen, and you're putting things in place, aren't you? Like, I want to make sure, I don't know, when you go out to an evening event and leading up to it in the day, you're like, well, it's going to be a long evening, so I'm going to have a bath first, and I'm going to do my hair, and I'm going to have a cup of tea, and I'm going to have a nap, and I'm going to be really warm because I'm gathering my energy together so that I can truly go out and enjoy myself, instead of dragging yourself out the door at the last minute and you're exhausted and you haven't eaten and you're in a rush. This is the opposite of that. This is going, I'm embracing the celebration that will be coming. So I'm going to prepare myself to be truly allowed to sit in the moment of it when it happens, rather than my mind is scattered and I'm all over the place.
I'm going on a journey. So how can I make that journey as comfortable as possible to make me want to see it through?
It's interesting. We've gone 11. I just saw it as one. I know this doesn't make sense because it's actually, but you've got 2. 11 is a 2. Then you've got 3, and then you've got 4. So we're building up here. I think that's fantastic. I love the
combination of these cards.
They're really. And what was the question again? Let's read it one more time.
How to find the future within, new goals and paths to them.
There you go.
So
So this is it. This is setting it up. You
Yeah.
want to find those things, make sure you've got all your stuff. You're going on
Yeah.
that journey, make sure you're well rested.
Yeah.
Make sure you're warm. Make sure you're in a calm, relaxed mood. Make sure you're open because you feel settled in
Make
yourself.
sure as a tree you are well
rooted.
you know, and then you can reach the stronger the roots, the higher you can reach.
And that's a theme. That is a constant theme throughout this.
I love it. Right, so the last question: what to rely on in the external world? What external element should remain in life? Oh, that's it. Just thrown
There we
off
go.
the deck.
There we go. Sorry, read that again.
So, what to rely on in the external world? I think, have you got two down there?
I do.
I think one's for the first part of that question. What to rely on in the external world? What external element should remain in life?
What
So-
external
So it's
elements
like,
should
sort
be
of like
remaining
a
in
bit
life?
of a two-part.
Well, this is interesting because these just jumped out and fell on the floor.
Yeah, let me see what.
And these are not
Oh, this one's
necessarily
sticking out.
considered the happy cards.
Oh, okay.
We've got the 3 of Swords and the 9 of Swords.
Oh, blooming heck.
Yes.
And then I've got tobacco here. Feed your ancestors, raise the sacred smoke to them, for they are hungry to connect.
Interesting.
So on the surface, it seems quite negative because automatically we look at tobacco from a Western point of view
as being negative.
We see, you know, the additives that are put into cigarettes, and we think it's something harmful. We see that it's quite interesting because we've got the 3 of Swords, the heart,
betrayal.
But also it could be seen as damage to the heart.
Yes.
Well, we're very much taught, aren't we, that smoking is damaging to the heart. And then we've got the worry of the 9 of Swords again. But which is the nightmare card, isn't it? It's those things that keep you awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. But with the swords, they are about thoughts.
Yes, they are.
So sometimes it's not what we perceive. It's not what we think it is. It's not always what we think it is. So what do we need to rely on in the external world? Maybe it's not what we think we need to rely on. And also, and I know this is tobacco rather than cigarettes, but people become very reliant on cigarettes.
There's an addictive quality there. Absolutely.
So what can we let go of? The swords are inviting us to cut things out of our lives. If we go to the roots of tobacco, it is a sacred thing. It is a practice. It is a ritual that takes us back to our roots. It takes us to the ancestors, to our ancestry. So we need to go back, strip things back. We need to strip it back. With all the illusion needs to be stripped away for us to see clearly.
That's why I feel like I keep getting drawn to this, because this for me, obviously it's the card of a betrayal, isn't it? It's when you've been stabbed in the back, or grief. And I look here, you've got the chains, but there's a feather sat in one of those manacles. And it like you said, it's a reminder that what has been, if you want to create this new world for yourself, if you want in the external world to exist, you can't get away from betrayal and hurt and grief. It is there. Your mind is going to run away from you. There is a vulnerability, and it's what you said. It's getting back to what things were truly designed to be used for. They've been corrupted and co-opted and used for marketing purposes and used to make money. And we've done all these kind of things. And this is saying that's hurt us. That breaks our heart. That feels like grief and betrayal, because our mind, we're just not being authentic in what things were for. So when you look at the tobacco, like you said, it was a ritual plant. Tobacco wasn't farmed and smoked the way we did in the West when Benson and Hedges and Players and all these companies grew. These tobacco was used as a trading thing. It was used in ritual. It was used occasionally, and it was given gravitas and import. So it's, for me, This is about, as you make this work in the outside world, you need to bring the authenticity and originality back. You need to look, even if you can't go back to the original way of doing something because we've moved too far.
Forward positively?
How do we move it forward positively? How do we strip away all the layers of paint that have been put on that, get back to the original piece of wood and look at it and go, now, how do we use it in this modern world?
Yes.
How do I do this? Because so far, all this is causing me, I'm living in pain. I'm living in my own mental, my mental torture chamber here.
It's like our actions in today's world are leaving it. This is the polar bears, isn't it? With
she's covering her baby. She's looking at the land. The ice is melting. And what's she going to do?
And she's protecting her baby so that her baby is blissfully unaware at the moment of what she sees coming. So we need to be very mindful of what we are doing as well.
Yeah.
Because there are implications. Every action has a reaction.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, but also because it's thoughts, every thought creates energy.
Yeah.
And so if we look forward in a positive way, if we've done the work and we feel comfortable to look forward and project our energy out there, then we aren't going to be feeling like this.
Yeah.
We're going to be feeling positive, and we can go back to the original meaning of the Nine of Swords. If we look at the PIP system, the Marseille system, we're nearly there. We've the ideas and the thoughts we're bringing to fruition.
Yeah. And that sometimes, because this is what will follow on with the Ten of Swords, you have to walk away from shadow sometimes. Like it's this weird, it's this contradiction that we've had too much Disney. Yeah. We all think that everything's just going to be happy and there's going to be like a definitive ending.
And then from that point onwards, it would be the fairy tale, the happy ever
after. But it's not, it's cycles. Everything is cycles. So when you are living in mental torture, when you are living where, like, every time you turn on the TV or open your apps now, it's just pain, it's betrayal, it's watching the people that we put our trust in, the people that we elevated, just crush us again and again and again. And while we're all screaming about it, what we're not realizing is nobody asked us to put them on that pedestal. We've created that world. So if we want to strip it back, it's acknowledging that human beings are human beings, that everybody has all these different sides to them. And that when you get stuck in the section of the wheel where everything is crap, you can't stop it being crap. What you have to do is look at why it's crap and then go, how do I now morph? So when I go forward with my baby here, the ice is melted. What am I going to do? I can't make the ice come back.
Yeah.
People live in this nostalgia, don't they? Oh, well, in my day, if we could go back
in my day, it was a good old day.
It was the good old days.
And
but it wasn't. There
was some dreadful things.
Things.
I mean, and there were some things that were really positive. Kids could play outside. Kids could roam for miles. Kids weren't connected constantly to the phones.
Yeah.
We
had freedom.
We spent time together. We spent sort of time that was focused on each other rather than being focused on
a screen
and the outside world. We're constantly looking at what's going on in the outside world, and sometimes we need to look at what's going on within ourselves.
And that you can't, I keep wanting to come back to this, you cannot avoid grief and betrayal.
No.
You cannot avoid it. So how do you repair from that? How do you go into the outside world when you open the door and it looks really ugly outside and you think, I want to retreat inside and stay in my safe little world? But you can't do that because that's stagnation. You have to move into it. So how do you move into it and go back to the authentic reason that things were used? Go back to the beginning again. Instead of going for a walk or a run or whatever and thinking, I've got to get a personal best. Why don't you go back to what you did as a kid and just go for a run?
Because it
just feel the joy.
Good.
Just do it because it feels good. Just go out and do it for its pure purpose. Get out of your head and understand that when you bring the purity back, you heal from the grief and the pain. That's how you heal from it.
Yeah.
You don't heal from it by trying to recreate what you had before the grief came. It's that, and I always forget the name. What is the name of that Japanese technique where they fill in cracks with gold?
No, I can't think of it. I know what you mean.
I'm terrible for that. Anybody who happens to watch this and knows the name, please stick it in the comments.
Things with gold, don't they? So actually,
they create something new.
Yeah, and even more beautiful for the fact it was broken.
Absolutely.
So, and it is, isn't it? You know, we've all been broken at times, but when we put ourselves back together and we carry on, we create this thing. Yes, it might be, in the traditional sense of the word, might be flawed, but those flaws are what make us unique and beautiful.
And who decides what's flawed?
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing. So we've been watching the Rugby World Cup, and I've been really enjoying it. I like it's the ladies Rugby World Cup. And what I've noticed is people who I've watched it with, who will remain nameless, both men and women. Yeah, this isn't a gender thing. This is both sides.
I think women. I know where you're going. I think women are just as bad, if not worse, sometimes.
Well, when they're watching it, they're making comments about some of the women that look less than traditionally feminine.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, she's a big girl. Oof, look at that one. Oof. And I was watching and I was listening to this, and I really love the women's rugby. So it was kind of irritating me because I thought, we don't do that when we watch the men's rugby.
No.
So why are we doing this now? Because there has been this idea of, this is how things should look. This is how they should fit. So when they don't, we're going to call them out. And the truth of the matter is, there have been strong women throughout history. There have been warrior women throughout history. Yeah. Strength in women has always been there. As someone pointed out to me ages and ages and ages ago, and it stuck in my head, when we were talking about this idea of, we were talking about fashion, and we were talking about the idea that women were tinier back in the day. And she pointed out two things. She said, no, the stuff that survived, those brides were teenagers. Like, when you look at traditional beautiful dresses that survived, they were tiny already. They were children. Yeah. Number one. And number two, the idea that there weren't strong women. Have you ever churned butter originally the way you did it back in the day? Do you know how strong you must be to constantly churn some butter in a big wooden thing?
And then
You're strong.
We look at civilizations that are, I suppose, technologically not as advanced as us. You know, they don't have the same, they don't have technology that we have. They don't have the time-saving devices, and the women are strong, and that's seen as a, you know, a sign of beauty. There's certain tribes, aren't there, where women are big, like, and you know, and that's seen as being beautiful. Why shouldn't we be big and beautiful?
It's authentic. It's lovely. It's the fact that exists everywhere.
We can look at the fact that Marilyn Monroe was a size 16, was she? And she was
looked amazing.
She was sexy as hell. And I mean,
so it's being it's recognizing that when we go out into the world,
and it's about attitude as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you feel good in yourself, if you feel beautiful, that really is attractive. That's an attractive quality.
Yes, it is.
You know, you don't have to be classically beautiful. What the hell is?
But that's what I'm meaning. That's what I started saying this about. Was who decides what that is?
Yeah.
Who decides? We've been fed things for so long, and I think what we're starting to learn is we have to throw that out. We have to throw it out, because you know what it did? It gave us grief. It told us we weren't good enough. It told us we had to live in certain boxes. And if we didn't, we were naughty for stepping out of those boxes. We were causing disruption. And when I look at this card, she has no fucks to give, right? That is just, she is sending it back up to the moon. She is saying, have it. Thank you. I am grateful. Thank you for what you gave me.
Her to
her hidden self, her feminine hidden self. And she is unapologetic about that. That is who she is. But I think when you look back over this, what this is also saying, and this comes up a lot in readings, I find, is nothing is done without the ground laying work. You do not have a lack of to give. I don't know if I should be saying those words on video, but anyway, you don't have that unless you lay the groundwork to be strong. And that's part of the problem of stepping into the outside world, and why we get lost in our head and the nightmares, is because stuff is thrown at us like you can just do it. People will, like somebody suffering with horrible depression, and somebody says to them, just smile. Just go have a holiday and you'll be fine.
actually, if you think
If you
positively,
think positively, everything will be okay.
so
And what
toxic
it's
positivity.
toxic positivity, because what nobody talks about is that, take depression's a perfect example of this.
Mm.
You have to lay the groundwork. You have to, it's like muscle memory.
Yeah.
It's elastic brain
It's that
energy that has to be
neuroplasticity, isn't it? You know, the more
neuroplasticity.
we think that we can do something,
The more those neural pathways
pathways
start
do.
to create.
Yeah.
So when you, but what this is saying to me is, and I say this to my clients when they ask if treatments are going to cure them, if acupuncture is going to cure them, and I will say to them, I will never cure you of anything. I will open up the channels in your body to allow some balance to occur, some harmony to occur. And what happens is sometimes the symptoms totally resolve, but sometimes they don't. But what happens, it's understanding, for example, if you have a chronic condition, that is not going away.
Yeah.
But can we make it so that you are much better able to cope with those symptoms?
Can we manage it?
Can we manage it where you don't feel weighed down by them, where you don't get lost in your own head with them, where you find some ability to blow it back out to the universe and go, you know what? I still got that pain, but it's not weighing me down the way it used to. I'm not thinking about it in the same way. And that's really grown up.
Yes.
To do that.
Now, when we do healing within the church, and I mean, I had to train to do healing, to be insured to do healing within the church. But a very interesting concept that I took from it, probably the most important thing that I took from the whole course, was the fact that when we are healing, we are a channel. We're not. It's not something, you know. It's not our energy. We are channeling the energy, but we are not curing somebody. What we're doing is we're reminding them of that potential. We're reminding their spirit of that potential to heal. Now, if somebody has got a terminal condition, it's not necessarily, you know, it's not going to cure them. We're not going to put our hands on and they're going to go discover it's gone. Now, there are miraculous cases.
I agree.
In the majority, but what it can do is bring that peace and that acceptance and maybe some pain relief. Because it's sparking that remembrance within the spirit, that it doesn't necessarily have to be this way, that we can help out. Our body can help itself and the spirit can help itself. And again, it's reminding us that in the end it's all down to us,
and that you can find peace in the ugliest things. And that's something,
it can be, you know, we get to have those conversations that we never had.
There are things absolutely. And that's something, it's very, I've heard that a lot throughout my life from various different ideologies and religious beliefs, etc. And they talk about finding the peace in the ugly. And I struggled with that idea for a long time, because I always saw that as being giving in, as being you were weak, you were becoming a doormat to cruelty. And it's taken me a lot of years to understand that you can look at it that way, but that when you are faced with that kind of grief or that kind of hurt or that kind of cruelty that is unavoidable, because the people or the situation, whatever it is that's bringing it, is bigger than you are, right? In the tangible worldly sense, the only place you can go is within. And when you go within, you find an opening in you that says, do you know what? That section of my body's energetic being, of the 10 bodies that exist in us, okay, you can beat that up right now, that side of it. But you know what? I've got 9 other bodies that you're not touching. So in this moment, that's going to take a bit of a kick for the team. But we're going to stay over here, and this is going to stay protected. And out of this, I will subsume what you are doing, and I will find a way to knit it, to repair it with some gold and knit it into something better later. And it's possible and it's beautiful. But I always want to say to people, please do not underestimate the infrastructure you have to put in place to be able to do that. You must practice it consistently every day. It's like people, we do this, we see something happen, I don't know, in the news, and we go, oh, if that was me, I'd have punched him in the face, or I'd have done this, no, you wouldn't.
No.
Even if you go and take defense classes once a week, unless you immerse yourself and train where it literally becomes so muscularly reflexive that your brain switches off and your body just does its thing. Unless you train to that level, you are always going to be upended in a situation, because when the situation comes, it's so visceral that it will always knock you off your perch.
Yes.
The only way you have that sense of grounded confidence, that rootedness, is you must practice.
It's
going back here, you must have your ritual. You must consistently do it. You must trust the process. You get rid of those things and turn your face away from the things that would drag you back and tell you can't do it. You talk to your shadow self. You make friends with your shadow self and understand that justice does not come in a one size fits all package. You look at how then do I prepare myself for the possibilities of gorgeousness? And if I then go out and I run into sadness, how do I turn that round and bring my authenticity back again? Yeah.
Perfectly summed up.
There we
Love
go.
that.
Right.
Love it.
Well,
that was great.
I want to say happy Mabon to you, but it's really not happy Mabon, is it? It's just, I wish you a blessed Mabon. On this day of equal times. I wish all of you listening a blessed Mabon. I hope you found some, I don't know, some light in this reading. I hope you found some inspiration.
Made some sense, and perhaps given you food for thought.
Giving you food for thought, going into a time of lengthening night, shortening days. Now you've got some time on your hands to think about these things. Please do, and refer back to this. If there's any of these cards that you're looking at right now that kind of twig, but you're not sure why they're twigging, save the video and come back. Take a screenshot if you can and come back and just ponder it, because what we've just been saying, stuff doesn't always jump up quickly.
Maybe you could put the questions.
I will put the questions
into the blurb.
I will do. I'll put the questions into the blurb. I'll put a link to the book into the blurb, and a link to these 2 decks into the blurb, if I can figure out how to put a link in, but I will do my best to do that. And and hopefully that gives you guys some information. And when we come back in 2 weeks, we will carry on with the Suit of Swords.
We're on the Suit of Swords. We are.
We will.
So we will see you next time. Thank you to 8 Red Trees.
Thank you to Soul Salon. Thank you to everyone listening.
Yes. Well done again.
Well done again. And the usual, would you please like and subscribe? Because if you would do that for us, that would be a massive help. Or share it with your friends and maybe get them to.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye for now.